how many
I,
is it though? Like over all of these like months, like how many like females would you say that you've like closed on IG, like roughly? You know,
close like in
between
person.
the run club, between going out, between Hinge, you know, just between everything from
Yeah, so
the beginning of like, you know, March 2024.
at least like 10, like a
10?
number. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes they're like the number, like the numbers instead of IGs. So I'll text
Okay.
them on numbers and stuff like that.
Why is it so low though? Cause like, dude,
I don't know.
I'll go get 10 IGs tonight, dude.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Like I'm that serious. Like getting 10 IGs can be done in like I can get 10 IGs at a nightclub.
I guess when you're saying, I mean, when it's 10 girls, probably like 10 guys too, like they probably, that's what I've been doing, like a mix of both.
Yeah, but
So
I mean like I could go to even just like this random networking event that I was at, like just the other week, like all the guys that I talked to there, if I were to like close all of them, that would have been like 10 guys in a matter of like an hour and a half.
mhm.
So like is there a reason that it's such a low amount? Like in 6 months, that's like one per month.
Yeah, I mean, I said when going out, I just said maybe I've been opening a lot.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Is there so when you're out, like what are you spending time doing?
Talking with the people I know already, I know there already, that
Okay.
like I kind of planned.
Okay. Does that so because I can imagine I mean if you're just like with a group of people and you're just standing with that group of people and you guys are all just talking to each other for like 2, 3 hours, like that gets probably a little old, right?
No, we're not talking like some, like I will move around and we'll talk to some groups, but it's not like I'm like constantly moving around, you
Okay.
know, and opening sets
Yeah.
like that.
Cause like so whenever I'm at Canopy and I've got my group and I've got my back to the bar,
Hmm.
in the amount of time that like from 9 o'clock to 10:30, and there's been times where I've stayed put completely, like I haven't moved at all, like 0%, and that's what I recommend is low footprint. So I'll find the corner of the bar, like pretend it's warm. I'm just remembering this one night, and I'm outside, I'm against the bar. I got, you know, Elliot, I got Dirk, I got this girl, I got a girl over here, but this like spot next to me by the bar, like within an hour and a half, like I would imagine it was probably like 30 or 40 people. Like 30 to 40 people went in and out of this spot, of which I probably opened like a quarter because like half of them are girls. And then of those, half of those girls are like actually worthy of me just like saying something over my shoulder. And so it's
Yeah,
like in that night, I probably got into, you know, 5, 6, 7 new interactions. And if you get into an interaction, like if she's chatting, there's just like a 100% probability that I can close an Instagram.
okay.
Whether she's from out of town or she's here or she's there, like I can have a chit chat with her and have a conversation about are you from Charlotte and what brings you in and what do you do, what side of town do you live on, and where else do you go out at, and just random questions, right? Like just the randomly just get to know you stuff, and then in between breaking it up with like personal input, you know, me giving my stance on something, me telling a quick story, or just like injecting my personality, like nothing crazy. Like I really don't ever do anything super out of the ordinary, but by the end there's enough there, right? Like I've built up enough, there's enough leverage for me at the very end to say, um I got to get back to my friends over here. I'm sure you got to find yours, but grab my Instagram. Like even if I'm just throwing a Hail Mary, grab my IG. Like everybody will do it. Like you'll almost never get turned down for the Instagram if you just ran a regular interaction.
So I agree. I do think that's the case. The one thing to worry about is not worry about, but it's happened to me is where I'll get the Instagram and they don't follow back and they're like private.
Yeah, but they need to get your Instagram.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's the
I
close.
get that.
So that way there's
I've been
no
doing
issue with
that
them not
now.
following back. They follow
I've
you
been doing that
first.
now. Hmm.
Yeah, so it's just grab
I've been
my
doing that
Instagram.
now, but
And you give
again,
them the
I will say,
directive. It's not like, do you want to get my Instagram? It's like, grab my
yeah,
IG.
you say get my Instagram.
Yeah, grab my Instagram. Grab my Instagram. If you're just visiting, oh, maybe I'll be in Philadelphia. If I'm in Philadelphia, you can be my tour guide. Grab my Instagram. She's
So
not gonna be like, no. If she's like, no, that's a very like that's an exception to the rule. If she's like, no, I'm like, oh, okay. Well, see you never.
yeah, I guess
It's funny.
when I am at State Street, I I do open, but I guess I don't find that there's enough rapport to go for that close. Like I don't know how quick of a time lapse has to go by before I'd be like, oh, that's you're cool. Like let me get your IG or something, or like grab my IG. Let's connect.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, you can make it happen in under a minute. You know what I mean?
And they're
But
in it, you think?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I guess I don't have that sort of mentality yet
Yeah,
where I can just
you can grab an
go
Instagram
in
in
for
under
a
a minute.
minute.
Yeah, she's over here. I'm just like, hey, just so you know, I'm like, just so you know, do not order the dirty martini, whatever they're putting in the dirt. And this is just like a line I've used in the past, and it's just situational. I'll be like, do not order the dirty martini. Like whatever they're putting in, I think is made from like whale sauce. I'll say something random, right? Because I'm being non-logical. I'm
Yeah.
being I'm communicating in the world of emotion, not in logic, right? So I
Hmm.
also want to pattern interrupt, right? So there's a hook there, right? It's made with whale sauce. Like, and I just came up with that off the top of my head just now. And they're gonna be exactly right. Like it's fucking you can't help but like chuckle. It's like, what the fuck did this guy just say? Made from whale sauce. What the fuck? What the fuck is that? So she's like, it's what? I'll be like, yeah, like you heard me. She's like, I don't even drink dirty martinis. And I'll be like, okay, let me guess. You're gonna get an espresso martini. She's like,
Yeah.
yeah, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And if it's cold, if it's kind of cold or whatever, then I can be like, well, I can tell it's girls' night. So why don't you go yap with the girls? I'm gonna yap with the guys. And then, maybe I won't IG close. Like maybe I'll just be like, if we run into each other again, next round is on me. That's if it's like
Here's
super, that's if it's like super
so
cold. But I'm always like future projecting or like creating something for the future. Like there's always like, hey, like you got to get back to yap and chill with the girls or whatever. I got to get to back to yap and chill with the guys. But if I run into you again, next round is on me. Sound good? And I might even go for like a fist bump.
yeah, I get that.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Wait,
that sound
when you
good?
say cold, when you say cold, what do you mean cold? Like she's not like
Non
responding or
receptivity. Yeah.
reset?
Like
Okay.
low, 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 low receptivity. But if
Okay.
it's warm, I can get creative. If she's like really receptive, but she's kind of got to go or whatever, I'll be like, yeah, you got to get back to yap and chill with your friends. I'm going to get back to yap and chill with mine. If I run into you again, next round is on me. Sound good? She's like, yeah. I'm like, cool. Grab my IG in case you need to send me a message.
Okay.
I'll close that IG in 30 seconds. And all I talked about was whale sauce, espresso martinis, and you got to get back to your friends. I got to get back to mine. If we run into each other again, next round is on me. In case you need to send me a message, grab my Instagram.
In case you need to send me a message.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
It
weird.
doesn't have to make sense.
Okay.
The less sense that it
So
makes, the better. Because then you're in the world of emotion. When it's logic, it's not fun. Women aren't going out to have these logical conversations,
I agree.
right?
No, I agree.
They
And
want to
I
be
get it.
opened. They want to be opened by the handsome, charming guy that's funny, that's going to say some fucking off the wall shit. Like, think about the guy that's like the most charismatic, the most attractive. Maybe he's not using verbal game skills, right? Like that's what I kind of have to lean into because I'm not super tall. Like I need to work on my expressiveness. I need to be more emotive with my body language. Like there's guys that are just like dancing around and singing to the music and aren't even really communicating directly at all. They're just like in this vibe where they're like a fucking Backstreet Boy type shit. But for me, it's less about that, and I'm utilizing my verbal communication skills, where it's like I'm dancing with my words. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I agree. And I do think that's something that I try to focus in when I'm out with the guys or in like the group that I'm in sometimes. Where like we'll be telling us like some really funny stories to each other, and we'll be laughing out loud and like creating that like vortex, as like that guy Jared says. But like, and then like I noticed everybody kind of starts looking a little bit, like all the girls like will peek over, and then we'll start, and then at that point it becomes easier to head that way or just like say hi, like wave at them or something like that. So I guess I haven't thought about just going for the IG close like when it's like super low time lapse.
Yeah,
I
dude, you
just
can
always
just
felt like you need to be
collect
alone
IGs. Yeah, you can just fucking collect a shit ton of IGs because like even
What
that
if they're
short,
married? Because that's the
huh?
one thing I find is like, so what if they're married, or like what if like they have a boyfriend, they come up with a boyfriend excuse. They're
Um,
like, oh, I'm trying to be friends. I know what you're talking about. Like just knock it
yeah,
down.
no, I mean if she's married or she's got a boyfriend, I mean like I'm done with that. I'm not fucking with that.
Yeah, okay.
I don't get into a ton of interactions with girls that are married. You can always like check for a ring, right? Um, which I'm not the best at doing, but that kind of goes like a little bit further back in the process, where like ideally you're spending time at a place where there's single people. Like when I go to Canopy, who the fuck is going to Canopy married? And maybe I'll even say
I
that.
don't know,
If there's a married girl, I'll be like, oh, you're married? Who the fuck comes to Canopy married?
dude. Sometimes there's girls' nights. Like that happens at me and my friend. We were so last weekend or so last weekend. Well, sorry, the last one went out. We were out. It was pretty dead night. I didn't do a group chat, and there was these women there at the bar, and they didn't have any guys in front of them. And so we went to go talk to them. He really wanted to talk to them, and I was like, okay. They were a little older, but I was like, screw it, I'll get some practice in. And we all started talking. Made them laugh. I think they started getting more involved in the conversation. And it turns out like three of them, like two of the three were married. It's like, where are the husbands? Like what's going on? Guys
Yeah.
get like kicked out of the house or some shit. And they started laughing. They're like, oh no, it's girls' night. And then I kind of played with it, right? But at that point, I'm like, no, I guess I'm good. Because my buddy was talking, he was the one talking to the one that was single, which is
Yeah.
who he wanted to talk to. Like I'm happy for him, right?
Yeah.
But in that
Yeah. I
situation,
mean,
it's like, okay, shit.
yeah, I'm just trying to think.
Sometimes I'm just saying it's
For
something that
me,
happens where like you're just like that's weird that their husbands are not there, but there's like girls' nights, and I don't know how much to believe that, but apparently they were like Eastern European, so they wore the ring on the other hand, and I was like, because I checked for that, I do check, and I'm just like, I
okay.
didn't see no ring. I was like, what the hell? This shit threw me off.
Yeah. So no, and I hear what you're saying. I'm just thinking like if I ran into that scenario, so the first thing that comes to my mind is that like I really do my best. I really do my best not to be like walking up to and like approaching a group of girls.
I
Like
agree.
I'm trying to avoid that at all costs because it's hard to come from a place of like higher value. Like especially, and that's the issue with cold approach is like off the rip, you lose value because you're communicating interests, right? Like you're the buyer, they're the seller. Like that's automatically the frame.
But that's kind of the expected, like from the female's perspective, right? They kind of expect you to approach them. I'm just saying from like a
No, so there's ways to get around it. So the best
mhm.
way to get around it is to position yourself in the environment where they just happen to be next to you. So actually, because I've been standing here at the back with my back to the bar, and I've been in this spot, and then you're new, you're coming in here, you're actually coming up to me.
Yeah.
This is my space, and I can even
What
use
about
that. I can be like, you're not gonna be the fifth girl that walks up and orders an espresso martini right now, are you?
yeah.
You see how it's like
You know,
I'm using my like I'm actually like the frame there is me having status, right? So
mhm.
I can use that, and that's a matter of low footprint and positioning. Now, other ways, girls are walking by, girls are like when they're walking past you is another really easy way, right? So when they're in motion, the girl that I'm going out on a double date with tonight, um, was a girl from months and months and months and months ago. She was walking. I was standing with my back to the bar. I was actually with my friends. These girls are kind of walking. They walk up to the bar, they're looking around, and then they're kind of walking around like over by me. And I'm just like, excuse me, are you guys lost? Like, I'm stopping them as they're walking. I say, are you guys lost? And then they laugh, they bust out laughing because they know that I'm asking them based off of what I just saw them doing. And what I just saw them doing was going in and like looking around and then kind of like doing like it looked weird.
Yeah.
I was like, excuse me, I'm sorry, are you guys like lost or something? And they're like, no, we're just looking for our friend. Like, oh, we can't find our friend. I was like, okay, just double check. I was a little concerned there. I wasn't sure if this was like your guys' first time here or something. Is this you guys' first time here? And they're like, no, oh, we come here all the time. Da 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 da. I'm like, really? Okay, cool. That's cool. Like, how come we haven't seen each other? How come we haven't met yet?
Okay.
And I'm in. Like, I'm in the interaction.
Yeah.
Right? So like, you don't have to. The more a girl is like in a group and they're locked in, I'm not down for that. Unless one of them is giving me eyes or one of them is communicating interests. But if it's totally closed off and it's like this is going to be a cold approach, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. So what about that? Like, what if you get the eyes and there's multiple like looks? Because that happens often, right? And I'm like, shit, I'll have to walk over there, and it's like, no, we'll be across like the bar pretty much, you know, and like she'll be with her group of friends, and like maybe a couple guys, but it's like,
Yeah. So, but then you can
it's
then
gonna
you can
be
go over the
harder.
group. Yeah, you can kind of go over like if there's one giving you eyes, then you can kind of go to the group. But that's the invitation. Talk just her. Like you don't have to necessarily open the entire group.
Yeah.
So you can
Okay.
just be like, hey, I just wanted to come over here and say cheers. She'd be like, oh,
Yep.
okay, cheers. I'll be like, yeah, I noticed you from over there. I was just, I just wanted to come over here and just say cheers and tell you that I like the way that you put together your style. Looks good.
Like a genuine compliment or something.
Yeah, I mean it's a little bit more direct because it's me approaching, but if there's eye contact, I'll come up, I'll just be like, hey, I just want to come over here and say cheers. She'll be like, cheers. I'll be like, yeah, I haven't seen you around before. How come we haven't met?
Okay.
Cheers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
Are
that's
you from Charlotte or are you just visiting? No, I'm from here. Like, really? Do you come here a lot or is this like your first time here? It's like, no, I come here all the time. I'm like, seriously? How come we haven't met before? She's like, oh, I don't know. It's like, oh, well, I'm Brian. What's your name? Cool. Where are you from? Talk about that for a second. Let's talk about where she's from in fucking Alabama. I'll be like, Alabama? Okay, I don't really hear like an accent though. Like, aren't Alabama girls supposed to kind of have like a little bit of an accent or whatever?
yeah.
It comes out when I drink and da da da. I'm like, oh, okay. So remind me not to get you drunk.
Mhm. I got you.
And it's like
Once
that's effortless.
I agree. I think once I go into conversational flow, it's easy. So, but it was more like the concept, like you bring up the whole like whether or not to go cold approach because of like the low footprint, or not the low, because of the low status, because you're bringing it down, and then like I said, and then closing IG, right? Because I think that's a constant battle. Where it's like, all right, I go there and be like, hey, all right, I'm gonna go back to my friends. It was nice talking to you. Let's seem kind of cool. We should connect and then get your IG or get my IG. Like, would that be kind of like an easy transition? That's if I'm just trying to collect IGs at night and maybe build some familiarity / rapport, or would that be more like a number close at that point with the whole eyes, like on that specific scenario, just that specific scenario?
Oh, well, I mean, that depends on how the interaction goes. It depends on the interaction. So if it goes well, then
Who goes well?
I might even start future projecting to a date. So
Yeah.
she's like, yeah, I'm from Alabama. Okay, remind me not to get you drunk. Ha ha ha. Just kidding. So when did you move to Charlotte? She'd be like, oh, a couple years ago. I'll be like, okay, cool. What side of town did you move into? Are you here in South End, or did you decide to, go into icky uptown or whatever? So this is where we're using principles like the either or, right? Giving kind of directives, like instead of just like asking broad questions, like giving more context, allowing for more personal input. Oh, I live in uptown, da 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 da. Okay, cool. So and then I can go into like just depending on the vibe, like it's hard to role play it because she's gonna be saying things,
Yeah.
right? Like she's gonna be giving me threads. So that's why I can't have a conversation with myself because it's kind of like dead end. But she's
Yeah.
going to say something, and in what she says, there's those conversational threads. We've talked about that before, where it's like I latch onto something. Where it's like, oh, I'm from uptown, but I'm not really in town very much or whatever. She might say that, right? I'm in uptown, but yeah, I'm not even in Charlotte very often. I'm like, no, where do you go? She's like, well, I'm a travel nurse and this and that. I'm like, oh fuck, you're a travel nurse, so you travel just around like the United States quite a bit. Have you ever been overseas? We can start talking about traveling a little bit, and I can start talking about Croatia. Like it's just a normal conversation. Like there's not a lot of game.
No, I agree. But so the question is though, how long do you go for the interaction before you try to close and like move or something like that? Because like that point you guys can like vibe the whole night, right? And then
Yeah.
like there goes all the
Oh,
potential like IG closes that you can have.
yeah.
That's
Well,
like that's the balance, right? How
yeah.
long does an
So,
interaction like that take you typically?
no, that's a good question. I mean, like, you don't like if you're the more time that you've spent, like, you do want to kind of like there's
Constrain a little bit, right? To give her that.
yeah, there's like an optimal stopping point for sure. There's kind of this like
Okay.
optimal stopping point, even if it's going really, really well. So the
Like kind
reason
of
is
when you see
you need to
the
cut.
conversations
Now, even if it's
live or
not,
something.
even if it's not, sometimes the conversation is
Okay.
still going up. And like you said, like there's been nights where I've done the thing where I'm talking to this girl and now we've been talking for an hour and a half, right? But it's
Mhm.
rarely ever going to go from like an approach like all the way to spending time together till like she comes home with me. So usually, yeah, I mean usually 10 at the most, yeah, it's like 10 to 15 minutes into the interaction after we've been connecting really well. What I'm going to do is
Okay.
I'm going to say I might even talk about like Barcelona Wine Bar. Have you been to Barcelona Wine Bar? Do you like Barcelona Wine Bar? Do you do red wine or white wine? Okay, what do you think about going to Barcelona Wine Bar and drinking red wine with a cute Italian guy this week? The same text sequence closing. So that's like the close for setting the date on text. That's also a close for in person.
Person.
You bring up the spot, Barcelona Wine Bar, you been there? Cool, you like that place? Cool. You like red wine? Cool. What do you think about doing red wine at Barcelona Wine Bar with a cute Italian guy next week? Yeah, maybe that could be cool. Okay, cool. Well, I'll let you know if I find a cute Italian guy for you then. Right? So I can kind of take it. I'm speaking in the hypothetical because obviously I'm talking about myself.
Yeah, and she'll get
But
that.
but she'll be like, yeah, haha, maybe. Okay, cool. Well, anyways, I've got to get back to my friends. I know you've got to get back to blah blah blah. Becky, by the way, I'm so sorry for stealing Sarah. She's really cool, by the way. Like whatever, right? Like I'm starting to kind of play the group, win over the group a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm like, but then I'll still future project for later on that night. Cool. If we run into each other again, the next round is on me. That's like always kind of how I end the conversation. If I bump into you again, next round is on me. Sound good? She's like, cool, sounds good. I'll be awesome. By the way, grab my Instagram. Like there may not even need to be a reason.
Yeah.
Just like convo over. Okay, cool. By the way, grab my IG.
Okay.
And then I've had situations where girls come and find me later on in the night to get the fucking drink or whatever, just to hang out again. Not get the drink, but like that's part of it.
They use the excuse. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an excuse. It's plausible deniability. I have no problem. If she wants to come back to me, I'll buy her a fucking drink. Like I used to like pre-buy drinks and hand them out to girls. Like my strategy used to be way worse. I'd blow so much money.
Yeah.
And there's been other instances where she doesn't do that, but then later on that night, I send her a message on Instagram. Or maybe if I got the number, I'm like, where you at? Like hours later, right? Hours
Yeah.
later, where you at? She's like, I'm still here. I'm like, come find me. I tell her,
I gotta start doing that.
come find me. Yeah. See if I
I
can
gotta
gain
start
some
doing that.
compliance there. I'd be able to gain compliance. She's like, where are you? Like, I'm at the back bar, da 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 da. Come find me. It's drink time.
Okay.
Right. So now I'm
That's a
talking
good
about
one.
that
Because I
drink
could
that
have used that. I could have used that.
I'm bringing that drink up from before. So that's like what I'm using. I'm like, come find me. It's drink time. She's like, okay. She comes and find me, and I'm like, there she is. Put my arm around her. Hey guys, meet Beck. This is my girlfriend, Becky. Have you guys met Becky before? We've been dating for like 15 minutes. Now I'm introducing her to my friends. I'm setting that I'm setting that boyfriend girlfriend frame. Obviously, I'm kidding because this is my
Yeah,
every meet my girlfriend. We've been dating for the last like 15 minutes.
yeah, 100%.
So or my wife. I'll even go with wife. Like, have you guys met my wife? That one's actually better because it's way more a joke.
Yeah,
And
that's
it
kind
gets
of, yeah,
into
yeah.
and it gets into role plays. So if you have homies that understand the assignment, like Johnny does, like have you guys met my wife Becky? Yeah, we've been married for the last like 15 minutes. And Johnny be like, "What? I wasn't there for the wedding." I'll be like, "Dude, it was spontaneous. I don't know. We just met out front in the thing and we hit it off." He's like, "Well, I didn't get to hear the vows. Did she say her vows?" Like he'll play into it, right?
Yeah, no, I would do that too. Like,
And I'd be like, no, I didn't hear about, I didn't get the vows actually. What the fuck is that all about? I'll kind of like get mad at her a little. I'll be like, what the fuck? You didn't say your vows. So she's falling into this frame now, right? There's like social pressure for her to fall into this frame. And then we might even say our vows to each other. So that's a routine. And I've used that routine fucking billion times where I'll be like, okay, I'll go first. Then I'll grab her hands. I'll be like, so Becky, I promise to always come approach you anytime you give me eye contact at a bar. And I promise to always buy you an espresso martini. And I also promise to only cheat on you when I'm in Vegas. Right? Like I'll say the last one like a joke or something, right? The last one is like not serious at all. And it's also me acting like I have options. I'm pre-selected. I don't give a fuck. I can get pussy. So there's a lot that just went into that. And again, I just came up with that off the top of my head. So that's the level that you get to with this shit eventually. Is it
yeah,
just fucking it just you vomit this shit. And I promise not to cheat on you. Or I promise not to cheat on you only like except for when I'm in Vegas.
yeah,
And
Brian,
it's like,
fucking
that's
well.
funny, it
I,
breaks rapport. I'm like, all right, your turn. And she'll come up with a couple vows, like it's now I'm like it's making her kind of like invest. Johnny's right there as this like, fucking witness. And
mhm.
then and she'll say it, and then Johnny knows to say, okay, you can now kiss the
No,
bride.
I guess you're right. Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
and it'll work. Like, and I'll kiss her, like, and maybe I'll make out with her, and he'll be like, wow, like, wow. And then I'll be like, all right, let's go get that drink. And now it's fucking locked in, bro. Like
Yeah, no,
now,
it's solid.
now
It's solid.
there's so much, bro. There's like so much built into this narrative where it's like I came up to her, we had a good vibe, I
The
cut it
story,
off.
story. They love the
There's a
story.
story, there's this whole fucking narrative now. So the
I
odds of
get that.
her coming back to my place have gone through the roof. But the odds of her meeting up for me on a date are like 80%.
Dude, it's so funny because like nobody's doing that. Like I'm trying to practice to be better at that. But like me and my buddies are like observing or people watching some of the guys who go up to these girls, it's just like I'm like, man, no, how are they even like succeeding at this? Like obviously they're just tall and they have the that masculine presence. I'm like, nobody's doing this. Like the way that you frame it, like it's so much better, I think, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
try, trying to like change the other like guy friends' minds about it. It seems obviously it's a struggle because guys are so logical about it, and you're like just